The Target Panic Rehab, presented by the Pinpoint Archer. It's at 123 Anywhere Street, any city. Because it's on YouTube. April 22nd. That's today. I gotta go. I'm off to rehab. Take that, Target Panic. I forgot my bow. Welcome to Rehab, guys. I don't know if I have to say I'm happy to see you here, because if you are here, you might be interested in learning more about shot anticipation or target panic. And for me, that's not good news, because I don't want you to have target panic or anticipation. If you're shooting for a long time, you're probably going to get it. The probability of you getting it is a lot more than not getting it, unfortunately. So I'm here to help you, and I'm glad you're back. And let's start with rehab. If you haven't watched the previous video on target panic, I would strongly suggest going back and watching that. If you don't have time, it's fine. We'll do a recap now and kind of refresher for everyone that watched the last video, just to bring up to speed again of what target panic is, what the real reason is, and also how we're going to beat it, and also a brand new way to think as well, because that's also important. Let's look at the symptoms. First one is, and it might be like different for everyone, and that's why we're gonna do like a few of them, but it might be different for you. But the most common symptoms are you can't get it in the middle. So it's like, imagine two positive magnets. The one is on your pin and the other positive on the target in the middle. And as soon as it gets there, something in you know, you can't control it. It's just something pushes it away all the time, or it locks at the bottom or the top or the left or wherever, but it doesn't want to go on that target. The other one is, as soon as you hit the middle, you know, it's like, feels like someone is shooting it for you. You're out of control. And as soon as you hit that middle, boom, and then just something happens and you just shoot the arrow, and it's so frustrating for you. And then the other one is when it's a milder one, but it's also very, very annoying, because you can be holding steady, but as soon as you're in the middle there, or you're about to fire the bow, you know, your sight pin starts jumping everywhere. And yeah, you go from perfectly still to not being able to like put the have the same steadiness as what you had before it went into the middle. And remember, like the previous video I mentioned, it's not a funny thing. This is quite a natural reaction. Your mind is protecting you against the bow going off, and also against the reaction of everything that happens when you shoot a bow. It sees it as a threat, unfortunately. Remember, we're not made to shoot arrows. We are designed to stay alive. And your reaction to certain things that happen so fast, that's what keeps you alive. So we're thankful for this, but in shooting, we have to work our way around this natural protection that's programmed inside of our brains. And remember, the three elements that needs to be present for you to manifest target panic at that moment is, you need to be at full draw, you need to have your pin on the target, and your bow is about to fire. That's the three elements, that combination of all three at the same time, that is what gives you the anxiety. To make it worse, put pressure in there, put a massive, you know, deer in front of you, on an elk or an African animal, whatever you're hunting, and it just makes it worse. And that's why sometimes at home you won't feel it. As soon as you're under pressure, it changes stuff completely. So in this program, you'll also notice that while we're trying to cure this target panic or anticipation, we need to train with all three elements present, even if it's just visualization in your mind. And this needs to be present, otherwise it's not going to work. Like if you just stand there and blank bail and your mind is empty, then it's not going to do anything, because aiming is not present when you're just blank bailing. That's why we're going to use a shot simulator or a training aid or a shot trainer. And this is going to simulate the bow being at full draw. You need to aim as well with the shot simulator, and your shot simulator will be about to fire as well. So all these elements will be present while we're doing the shot simulator. It's a very good way of training your mind just to be a bit calmer, because there's no result. That also helps. Also, to fast track this whole curing program and to get you back on target, to get you calm behind the pin, we're going to change a few things. I want you to delete the word don't in your archery vocabulary. This is a word that doesn't help you in archery. If you say, like, don't do this, don't do that, don't miss, don't suck, I've often heard that, or, like, that is just not a good way to approach things, guys. I want you to delete this. And this is my proof to you that it's not a good idea. Your mind only recognizes the keyword miss and suck. It doesn't recognize the word don't. So to prove my point, if we're serving people and I tell you, here's a coffee, please don't spill the coffee, out of the cups making your way to the guests. What are you going to think about? You're going to think spilling the coffee. It's just natural. To prove my point further, quickly, don't think of pink elephants. What happens? You immediately think of pink elephants. Don't think of pink elephants flying. And also, don't see them flapping their ears and flying with their ears. You think about that immediately. And I said don't, but you still did. So that's the magic and the powerfulness of your mind. And it won't see the don't, it will just see the keyword. And for that reason, I also don't like the phrase aim small, miss small. If you use it, think about this, think about the logic I'm about to tell you. You are thinking about missing in your phrase. That's not a good idea. Your mind will pick it up and your mind will actually gravitate to missing. Even though it's small, why do you want to miss? Just say, hit the target. Why do you want to complicate things? And you can't aim better anyway by saying aim small, miss small. It's like, I know there's a lot of theories about it, but I don't like to use it. So I just like to say, follow the process anyway, because, like if you follow the process, you're probably going to be better off than trying to get to the end goal and skipping all the whole process. While we're busy with shooting process, remember, you can only think about one thing at a time consciously. That's why learning to drive a car is so hard, because you need to think about a lot of things. So eventually, when you're driving and you're an experienced driver, your subconscious takes over most of the things you're doing and you're just focusing on, shifting gears, but everything comes quite natural. But there are a few things then what you think about consciously. Your mind takes over a lot of thought processes subconsciously. Because you can only think about one thing at a time, you can't think about aiming and releasing at the same time. You're going to have to think about one or the other, and you're going to have to do one subconsciously. So you're going to have to figure out what works the best for you. And also, while we're busy, if you can't think about two things at the same time, you can't think about a positive thing and a negative thing at the same time. You can only think about one. And that's why you need to focus on hitting the target. We're going to do two things for the next week. And guys, I know the reason you're here is probably because you're struggling with target panic. This is going to be boring. It's going to be hard work. But the reason you're here is to get better, not to have a great time, unfortunately. But once you get through this, you're really going to be better. So stick with the program and please do what I say. It's really going to help you. And if you veer off and you go back, and decide, listen, I'm not going to do this anymore, and you go back to 20, 30 yards, you shoot your bow like normal, it's going to come back, right? So I'm going to ask you, we need to make the groove deep here in your brain that this is the way it's going to be moving forward, and you're not going to do what you did in the past. So please stick with the program. I know it's going to be boring, but once you get through this, it's going to be great. So for the next week, we're only going to shoot with a shot trainer or a piece of D-loop material that you make custom fit to your draw length to simulate your draw length. Now remember, you need to have the three elements present, right? Have it at your draw length so that we can simulate full draw. I want you to have an aiming reference, if it's your thumb or if you're using a shot trainer, some sort of a pin on there or even a bubble or something to aim with. Most importantly, you're going to need a release on your hand, right? So simulate all three elements. You're at full draw, the release is about to go off, and you're aiming something. If those three elements are present, you're on the money and you are going to trick your mind to that it's shooting the bow. The other thing we're going to do for a week is we're going to blank bail with your bow. Now, I'll be the first person to tell you blank bailing doesn't work. But we're going to do a little trick here. Remember, I told you 3 elements need to be present when we're training to beat anxiety and anticipation. So if you blank bail, your mind doesn't see you aiming. Therefore, we have one of the 3 elements missing. Therefore, we won't feel the anxiety. You will feel great when you're shooting. You'll have your eyes closed. When you go back to the target, as soon as you open it again, it's going to be the same deal. You're going to have the anxiety. But there's a trick, right? You're going to imagine or visualize you aiming in the middle while you're blank bailing. If you're at full draw, you come to full draw, you close your eyes. Obviously, stand close to the target, guys. It's blank bailing. You close your eyes and then you think and visualize you are in the center of a target while you're executing your shot. So you see you aim in the middle. You speak to yourself. You're telling yourself, keep on rotating, or whatever your process is. Boom, the shot goes, and you visualize your arrow hitting the target. But most importantly, you visualize in your mind that you are aiming in the middle of that target. This will trick your mind to think that you're aiming in the middle. Your subconscious can't distinguish between what's actually happening or what you're thinking. That's why it's very important what you are thinking. And that's why it's also important to think what to do and what not to do. And the most important thing here is to understand that you are aiming in your mind in the middle and releasing that arrow. That is a different blank bailing, and that will help you. If you've never done blank bailing, I'm going to quickly show you how to do it, and also my method of visualizing. So obviously you do everything like you do, but you stand close to the target, put an arrow in. Obviously you don't aim without an arrow. You got your release that you're going to shoot with. Then you draw up your bow. I'm going to aim very far down because I've got a target down here. It's very close. I'll say like 3 yards. Don't stand too close. If you get to a yard, it's dangerous. Keep it, like 3 and further, like up to 5 yards, depending how big your target is. And then you draw your bow like normal. Hit your anchor. And when you're on target like this, you close your eyes. And then you visualize you're aiming on the target. I'm in the middle. And you start pulling through. And it goes. That's how you do blank bailing the correct way. Okay, here's a program. You're going to shoot with your shot trainer for at least 30 minutes a day. You're going to pretend to be shooting a bow, but you're not. You're shooting your shot trainer. So you're actually aiming at the target. You're executing your shots like it matters, like you're on the line, like you're in a deer stand. You're shooting at the biggest deer of your life, like it matters, right? Don't just do it for the sake of doing it. Do it with a purpose, right? Just put your effort into this and try and aim in the middle. Try as best you can. Put yourself in situations in your mind. You're on the line. It's the biggest deer of your life, biggest elk, whatever your thing is, right? You need to put yourself there. Imagine you are shooting when it matters, but with your shot trainer for at least 30 minutes a day. In addition to this, I want you to shoot your bow, blank bailing, but the right way, visualizing it, aiming at something in your mind, aiming at the target, releasing good shots like it matters. I want you to shoot 15 shots of this a day, at least. You can do more if you want. Don't go outside shooting at 20, 30 on normal target like you always do. Stick with the program if you have a problem and do it right? So 30 minutes a day, right? With a shot trainer, you can break it up in 5, 10, 20 minutes, and then another 10 minutes, whatever you have time for. It's ideal to have one session or break it up in 2. You don't have to do it the whole way through. It can get boring. Take it to work, like shoot a few arrows. Don't shoot arrows there. Shoot a few shots with the shot trainer, put it away. If you're allowed to. If you don't, I don't want you to get fired. Don't take your bow to work and shoot in the office. You can if you want, if it's allowed. And then 15 shots a day with your eyes closed, blank bailing, visualizing. Remember, blank bailing the right way. So next week, we slowly introducing our bows again for the foundation phase. And we're going to shoot it almost like normal. There are going to be a few rules. It's going to be more fun than the first week. I promise, guys, it's going to get better as we go along. And by week 4, you're really going to enjoy archery because it's going to be a totally different experience for you. And we'll see you for the foundation phase next week. Good luck with rehab this week, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you for the foundation phase next week.